Years ago, my friend lived in an apartment building in Maine that was actually a former cotton textile mill in the early 1800s. During this time in history, lots of young farm women came to mill towns to work in the mills. Turns out it was hard to keep this many young women safe, and bad things happened back then. This is what fed the rumors that the old mill apartments were haunted. My friend said weird things would happen, but she didn't talk about it much. I wasn't sure that I even believed about paranormal stuff back then, but honestly, it didn't much matter. The price was right, and I needed somewhere to stay for a while until I found my own place. I moved in, and weird things started happening right away. I worked nights, and when I'd come home, the apartment was empty. My friend worked day shifts at a gym nearby, so I only saw her in the afternoons, when I wasn't working. One day, I sat on the couch after work and felt my eyes getting heavier until I fell asleep. I woke up to the sound of giggling. It was quiet, but it was close to me, as though whoever was laughing was trying not to wake me up. As I opened my eyes, I could feel hands touching my head, small hands, like children's hands. I sat up, and the laughing stopped, and I didn't feel anyone touching my head. The apartment was empty. This started happening a lot. I really didn't know what to make of it, but it seemed pretty harmless. One day I woke up to the same laughter and giggling, but this time when I opened my eyes, I looked to my right to see a little handful of my long hair being held straight out to the side. I sat up quickly and the hair dropped. My friend and I would hear things in the apartment when we were alone, and when we were together, it really didn't matter who was home. We'd hear footsteps running down the hallway, doors opening and closing. Sometimes you'd hear laughter coming from another room, and when you'd walk into that room, there'd be nobody there. Weird things would happen in the kitchen too. You'd come home to the refrigerator door being wide open, or a cabinet would open and close on its own while you were standing there watching it. The apartment was really active. But again, nothing really bad ever happened, so we learned to live with it. We even considered whatever lived there to be friendly. After a few months, something happened that changed that feeling. The bathroom in the apartment had a tub which faced the sink and mirror. My roommate was at work, and I was shaving in the bathroom before my night shift. I leaned into the sink to wash the shaving cream off my face and stood up straight. I looked in the mirror and froze. Behind me in the tub was what looked like a drowned young woman. She was wearing an old dress, had long dark hair hanging down around her face, and she was drenched. The most terrifying thing about her was that she had no expression. She just stared straight at me through the mirror. I turned quickly to look in the tub, but there was nothing there. Nobody was in the tub. I looked down to see a dark trickle of water running down the center of the tub and drop down the drain. I skipped the shower and booked it to work early. When I came home, my roommate was eating breakfast on the couch. I immediately asked her, "Hey, have you ever seen anything in the tub?" Her eyes got wide and she said, "I've seen her too. When you're in the bathroom, keep the shower curtain closed. I've been using the shower at work since I saw her." We both agreed that whatever was in the tub did not have the same light, happy feeling as the kid ghosts in the apartment. I went upstairs to change my clothes and take a quick shower to start my weekend. I was dreading having to get into that tub, but I had to get clean. When I pulled the curtain back, I saw a large, dark puddle of water running down the center of the tub towards the drain. I moved out 3 days later. My friend moved out at the end of her lease, and the old mill building is still a rental apartment. I wonder if the tenants still hear little kids, and if that terrifying girl is still seen in that shower. Sometimes I wonder what happened to these kids, but I've never had the heart to look into the building's history. When I was a kid, my mom would take a yearly visit to Albuquerque, New Mexico to visit her sister. We loved these vacations. My aunt's house was like a really comfortable vacation home for me. I got to spend time in a new city, but her house still felt like home to me. It was a very different feel than staying in a hotel. My mom was usually a super chill during these visits and gave me more freedom than usual. I think she just let me do more so she could spend more time relaxing with her sister, which was great with me. The year I turned 14, my aunt got married to a guy named Adam, who had a 4-year-old daughter, Ruby. After they got married, they moved into a new house in southeast Albuquerque. I wasn't sure what to think of all the changes, but my mom told me to stop worrying about the trip and that the new house would be great. The house had a pool, and there was a little pool house that they'd renovated into a bedroom. This is where we were going to stay. Adam picked us up from the airport, and we drove about 20 minutes to their new house. When we walked in, Ruby came running over and put her little hand in mine. "Let me show you my toys." She was adorable, and even though I was older, I liked spending time with her because she was cute, and she had that habit that little kids do where they just hold your hand. That's always been cute to me. We got a quick tour of the house and of the renovated pool house where we were going to stay. It was a cool little studio apartment, but it didn't have a bathroom of its own. The door to the apartment faced the back of the house, and the pool was between them. The first night was fine. Nothing strange happened. But the second night was different. I had to get up to go to the bathroom a few hours after we went to bed. I turned over and looked at the clock. 2:45. I knew I wouldn't be able to hold it until morning. I slipped through the front door of the apartment and tried to get my eyes to adjust to the darkness of the backyard. I crossed the area next to the pool and was reaching the back of the house when I realized that my socks had gotten wet. I was half asleep, but this surprised me because it was hot and dry out. I turned, looking back to see if I had walked through a puddle or something. In the darkness, I could just make out wet footprints on the concrete leading away from the pool towards the fence. This was freaky because, as far as I knew, everyone had gone to bed hours before, and I didn't think anyone had used the pool. But someone must have, I thought. I quickly scanned the yard, saw nothing, and let myself into the house. I used the bathroom, the whole time thinking how I'd have to cross back over those footprints to get back to bed. I tried to put it out of my head, and I quickly tiptoed back across the pool area and into the apartment and went back to sleep. I didn't tell anybody about what I had seen. I should have. By morning, I'd forgotten all about it, and we had a good morning just relaxing at the house and catching up. In the early afternoon, my mom and her sister decided to go to the store to get food and snacks for the week. My mom told me to watch Ruby, and they'd be back soon. When they left, Ruby put her little hand in mine and pulled me over to the couch. She wanted to watch a movie, and that was fine by me. I was tired. We sat together on the couch, and she snuggled in around a big pillow to watch her movie. I must have fallen asleep because the next thing I knew, I woke up to the sound of Ruby crying. I looked around and saw that the back door was open a crack. I jumped up and ran to the door and opened it wide. Ruby was sitting at the edge of the deep end of the pool with her legs in the water. She was leaning backwards and crying. "Ruby!" I yelled. She turned, and I could see she was absolutely terrified. The moment she turned, her little legs popped out of the pool, and she got up and ran over to me. I wasn't sure what I had seen. Was she trying to get in the pool? Had she fallen near the pool? I just couldn't tell. Her socks and her pants were wet, and I quickly walked her inside and asked her what had happened. "I don't want to get in the pool," she cried. I told her she didn't have to get in the pool and sat with her until she calmed down. I wrapped her in a blanket, and she eventually fell asleep on the couch. The whole thing freaked me out, and I told my mom and my aunt when they got back. They got upset with me, saying I should have not fallen asleep and that I had to be more responsible. Ruby refused to go anywhere near the back door for the rest of the evening. That night, I woke up and I looked at the clock. 2:45. Damn, I had to pee again. I got up, slipped through the door, quickly crossed the pool area, went through the back door of the house, and used the bathroom. As I was crossing the pool area back to the apartment, I looked towards the pool. At the far end of the dark water, I saw a shape. There were no lights on in or around the pool, so it was hard to make out what I was seeing. I focused on the shape until I could make out what it was, and my heart dropped. as I realized I was looking at a person in the pool. All I could see was a head covered in dark, wet hair just above the waterline. The face was staring straight at me, pale, with gaping, dark features. As I stood, frozen in terror, the shape sank slowly under the water's surface. I couldn't even scream. I ran back to the apartment and shook my mom awake. "There's someone in the pool!" She got up and grabbed her phone as she ran to the door. She hit her sister on speed dial and told her that I had seen someone in the pool. The next thing I knew, the lights in the house and the backyard all came on, and all the adults were in the yard looking around. They turned the pool lights on. Nothing. Nobody was in the pool, and nothing looked out of place. They decided to call the police to be safe, and everyone headed inside the house. Ruby was at the end of her hallway to her bedroom, crying quietly and rubbing her eyes. She must have woken up with all the noise. I ran down the hallway to comfort her. My skin went cold as I felt the sickening wetness coming through my socks. I had walked through wet footprints all the way down the hallway, and I could finally make out what she was saying. "I don't want to get in the pool."